Pisces, I'm going to be real with you. Connecting with your energy was like a breath of fresh air. It feels like everyone has just been very aggravated and angry today, just very frustrated. That's kind of come up in the readings. The energy has been sort of chaotic. But the moment I tuned into your energy, I could feel myself slowing down. I could feel my thoughts and my heart slowing down and just becoming very, very present. And this was very nice. And I hope regardless of when this finds you, because this is a timeless message, so you're welcome to listen to it whenever you feel called to do so, that you're also able to kind of experience the gift of your own presence, this larger aspect of yourself that kind of goes beyond the ego, that goes beyond the self. You have this gift of perspective and detachment. And I don't mean detachment in a negative way. It's almost like non-attachment is what I'm really trying to express here. And maybe that is kind of a theme, especially if it feels like the people in your life right now are also going a little bit crazy. Maybe you're kind of relating to what I'm saying already. But before we dive in, I just want to thank all of you who are returning to this channel, who support me with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It's with all of this that I'm able to continue putting out these messages and doing this incredible work, so thank you so much. And of course, if you are brand new here, it is so good to have you along. You can find links in the description of this video for personal readings and distance Reiki sessions if you feel so called to work together. You can book all of that on my website. You can also find links for all of my other social media accounts. Now, Pisces, when I was connecting with your energy, again, it was very calming. And I did actually pull an animal card for you. We will shuffle the tarot cards in just a moment. But this one was very, very interesting because I got the dragonfly. And ordinarily when this card comes up, it's kind of the opposite. It can be a very scattered energy. Dragonflies move very quickly. They change direction very quickly. It can be sort of a restless energy. But when I saw this card, it felt so right. And the image that came through wasn't a dragonfly in flight. It was a dragonfly kind of resting on the surface of water or resting on a blade of grass and really just being very present, being very still. And the dragonfly is so interesting because it does have this connection between air and water, the mind, our logic, and emotions, our feelings. And these two different kind of cognitive functions do have a relationship. Our thoughts influence our emotions, and our emotions influence our thoughts. And I really see that the most with dragonfly. And there is quite a bit of perspective with this card. You know, dragonflies have these incredible compound eyes that can take in the world almost from 360 degrees, like so many different angles and perspectives you are able to take in. And you have perspective. That is the gift. That is the medicine, if you will, that you can share with people at this time. And I really do get this just beautiful kind of calm from this card. And dragonflies do go through a transformation as well. They start off from a nymph and then they grow into a dragonfly. So there is a transformation that takes place here as well. But yours feels, it feels like you're in a different place with it than kind of the other energy I've been tapping into today, which has been very restless, very aggravating, kind of restless. And it feels like breath is something that's really important too. Like being very intentional with breath, meditation. These are things that are also going to be very, very helpful tools, especially with this card coming out first. Now, I do want to get into the tarot for you. And as I shuffle, I am also going to just remind you that these, once again, are general messages. So not everything that comes through is going to be meant for you specifically. It's really up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for somebody else. Maybe it even feels good right now to pause this video, take a moment, maybe even uncross your legs and arms. That's actually traditionally what you're supposed to do in a tarot reading, so you're more open to the energy and you can really feel in your body what is meant for you versus what is meant for somebody else. Or maybe there's even messages here that are resonating more for somebody that you know, regardless of zodiacal placement. Maybe you're meant to share this with somebody. So just be very, very open and take some time if you need to get into kind of that receptive state. What are the messages that we have for Pisces? What is the wisdom and guidance for Pisces at this time? We do have the Eight of Pentacles, so I feel like some of you have been very focused on a process or work. I actually really love the Eight of Pentacles. It's a card that just has spoken to me so much lately because, yes, it is hard work, it is dedication, but I also think of it as flow state. You know, this person is so engrossed in what they're doing, the whole world around them kind of just vanishes or kind of just almost comes out of focus. And so I feel like you've been working towards something. You've been very focused or fixated on something, but this feels healthy. You're focusing your attention in a very productive way, or that's what you've been doing. And it almost feels like you've kind of been doing this behind the scenes. You've been working on something. Maybe planning the next stage of your life or planning some big move that you're going to be making. And again, I want to emphasize, it feels like you've done this maybe in private or on your own. We do have the Page of Cups. So this does feel like something that you are working on from the heart, something that you're really passionate about. And again, flow. Yeah, that's exactly the word. This is exactly the word I would describe with this card combination. The Page of Cups with the Eight of Pentacles is about working in the direction of your flow. And learning to honor that. Maybe your flow looks different than what other people tell you it should look like or what society tells you it should look like. But I feel like you've been in this process of reclaiming what works for you. Maybe you've been very focused on your health. Thinking of the astrology that we've been in, this actually makes quite a bit of sense. But this feels good. This feels good. And we have the King of Cups. This is what you've gained. This is what you've learned. And you've learned a lot about emotional maturity and composure. To me, the King of Cups is all about being present with our emotions without necessarily reacting to them. And it's funny, Pisces, because I feel like, again, there's a lot of people around you who might be kind of losing their minds right now. And you're just kind of doing your own thing. You know, it almost feels like you can't be bothered. And that's not to say that you don't feel other people. You're not impacted by it at all. But you're not just going about things in a reactive way. You're very, very present. Tell me more about this King of Cups. Interesting. We have the Sun and the Five of Cups in reverse. You've had to overcome a lot of hardship, a lot of really big emotional situations. I want to say in the past year for some reason, or maybe past couple of years. Or maybe you've just been focused on your emotional healing. Because the Sun brings healing. The Sun brings a lot of clarity. You see yourself and other people very clearly. And you might even be seeing the people around you clearer than they see themselves. Because you're very, very intuitive. You're very aware. You're very emotionally intelligent. You know how emotions work, and you know that's not always logical. And that's kind of your gift. It's almost like you're a therapist, even if you're not, to the people in your life or the people around you. That's kind of the role you've been filling. And I mean, this is a timeless reading, so some of you could be in different places right now. Maybe this isn't resonating for you right now, but it will. I don't normally say that in these readings. I normally tell people then maybe this isn't your reading, but I feel like this is actually possible for you, even if it doesn't feel like it is right now. And part of getting there is figuring out what works for you, what is healthy for you, what is sustainable for you. And that's a whole lifestyle. It's not just one particular aspect of your life. Like you're restructuring your entire life, your entire day. That includes things like exercise, that includes things like diet, that includes things like sleep, your relationships. Like you're taking better care of these things because you realize how they're all built upon each other. So trusting in your healing, trusting in your process, Pisces. And we do have the Eight of Swords. This is actually coming out in reverse. And so it feels like you're getting out of your own kind of mental traps, your own self-limiting belief systems. You're not as stuck as you thought you were. Sometimes when I see this card, especially upright, it can sort of be the card of like a self-imposed prison. Or you don't see that, yeah, even though you're stuck in this situation, like there's an opening in these swords, and actually you could even cut yourself free if you become aware of what's around you, of the tools and resources around you. Your mind is very, very open, and like you're picking up on things that you normally don't perceive. And that's both in yourself, but I'm also really getting that for other people as well. We'll kind of get into relationships in just a minute, but it feels like the energy is very focused on you. And at the time of this recording, we're in September. We actually do have a full moon lunar eclipse in your sign. And this is actually going to be the first eclipse in this new cycle, with the North Node moving into Pisces and the South Node moving into Virgo. You are getting a taste of some sort of change and transformation. And it's funny because this is in your sign. You would think that this is very impactful, very disruptive to you even. But somehow it's like you're unfolding. I don't feel like you're being cracked open. That's already happened. Something else is happening here. You're responding to things in a very different way. And again, timeless reading. This may not be true at the time of this recording, but this is just the energy. That's just what I'm seeing is relevant now. Maybe there is even something important to reference back to this eclipse, if you're watching this at some point in the future, or maybe there's another eclipse in Pisces or something like that, something going on in Pisces. But there's a major change. There's a major ending. You're letting go of an old story is what this is really about. And that could be an old sense of identity or an old sense of self. And like what I'm actually hearing is, who am I when I'm not struggling? Who am I when I'm not trying to solve something, or I don't need to solve a problem? And that's actually something someone keyed me into Locke Kelly recently as a meditation teacher. And that's a question he kind of poses is, what would it feel like if I didn't have to solve anything right now? And really allowing yourself to feel that. Because again, you have this very centered energy. You have this very present energy. And I feel like you're manifesting a lot of incredible things by really getting into your flow. We do have the King of Swords. Yeah, you're very, very sharp. Very, very clear. It's funny because sometimes I feel like the King of Swords is incredibly detached from emotion, or can be, especially in kind of a reversed position. But I'm not getting this. I'm not getting this with this King of Swords. This feels like you are seeing things very objectively, maybe in the position of a challenge. This could represent someone else who's being very logical and almost like rationalizing things, and maybe that's an energy you are interacting with right now. But like, your gentle flow is kind of eroding that for them, which is interesting. There is just something so transformational about you right now, Pisces. You're going through a transformation. It feels really, really good. Where's all of this leading? We have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, you're gunning into some greater abundance here. Or some newfound sense of stability, because the Ace of Pentacles is your future. Maybe the King of Pentacles is kind of this inner perfectionism, this inner critique. Maybe it's someone else's energy that you've internalized. It could be parents, teachers, someone from society, or just societal expectations. This is how you're supposed to be, but you see things so much clearer than them. And that's so funny because to them things are so obvious and you're kind of like flying in the face of that. Like you are defying other people's expectations and like you're growing in a way that isn't logical to most people, but it makes perfect sense to you. Wow. You're like very quietly proving everybody wrong, and I love that. I just gotta say, as a Virgo, it's a goal. So yes, Pisces, we love this for you. I'm loving this new beginning. Could we maybe get a little more clarity about this Ace of Pentacles? What is this, or when? What is the time frame? What does this look like? Show us clearly. We do, interesting. We do have a Ten of Wands. And this is funny because this is a card where you might feel very burdened. It might feel like you're taking on a lot of things. But I almost feel like this is more about you delegating or simplifying. Can we get a little more clarity about this Ten of Wands? The Moon in reverse. Wow. Wow. Okay. So this is your card, Pisces, or one of your indicator cards. You're no longer punishing yourself into being somebody different, but you're being productive in a way that feels good for you. And it's like when you're no longer in agonizing or like suffering or like feeling depressed about where you're at or where you think you should be, that's when you have this new beginning. When you're just like, how can I make this easier? That's actually when it all makes sense. And maybe some of you have been overthinking something. Totally. There's definitely been some overthinking that's going on. And it's kind of funny because I feel like, if anything, Pisces, you're usually the sign that just goes with the flow. But other people have made you feel a little self-conscious about this in the past. And I think you're now trusting in your flow again, and it's so working for you. And screw these other people. Whether they're still in your life or from the past, like, your intuition is so strong right now. You might be shedding some really heavy burdens too. Maybe there are some big emotions that you need to let go of. Maybe it does kind of feel like a grieving as well. Maybe you're kind of grieving who you thought you were supposed to be. But when you let that go, that's when the real stability, that's when the real abundance comes in. Such an interesting energy. I would love to hear like what exactly this is pertaining to, because it feels like this is talking about your dreams or your goals. Definitely claim this reading. My God, this feels amazing. What is going on in relationships for Pisces? Specifically curious what's going on in your love life. We haven't really talked about that much. We do have the King of Wands. Wow. And the Eight of Wands. I feel like you're connecting with someone who's really creative, really passionate, really... There's just a lot of momentum. And it doesn't feel like effort. You know, I'm looking at this King of Wands not as someone rushing in, but someone who works with momentum. And there's something about working with passion here. Some of you could be connecting with a Leo energy or perhaps another fire sign, Aries or Sagittarius, especially Sagittarius with the Eight of Wands. Maybe there is someone else in your life who is growing very quickly or becoming successful very quickly, but you are too. So it's almost like a mirror. Maybe there's someone who already has some like degree of success or what you considered fulfillment or achievement. And you're getting messages from this person or they're giving you some sort of guidance. And it's so funny. Like, I'm getting this sort of like paradoxical message. When you slow down, things happen quickly. Or they almost happen instantaneously when you slow down and stop. And I really do believe, like, the energetics of this makes sense to me, because it's like if you're in kind of this rush headspace, like you're not seeing things clearly, you get into this tunnel vision, like you almost end up making more problems for yourself, you make things more complicated. But I feel like you're already kind of aware of this, like you're already slowing down. You're already gaining this perspective. And it feels like there's maybe someone else in your life who's doing something that feels really good, really exciting. And maybe they're dealing with a lot too. And maybe you're kind of in different paces. Whoa! Interesting. So, we have the Two of Pentacles, Four of Wands, and Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, it feels like there are people maybe juggling things around right now or working really hard. Maybe there was some sort of setback with the Nine of Pentacles, but it's weird because there's still something that is being celebrated. Maybe there's kind of a combination of both things going on. Like there's some setbacks, but there's also some progress. This feels like it's involving another person. I almost get the sense like someone is working really, really hard, especially someone you are connecting with. Or maybe this is you, could be reversed, but it's like, I need to do this to be stable. This is the only way I'm going to get my needs met. But that's not real stability. Okay, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, at its most foundational, or at the heart of this card in this position, it's about rethinking stability, re-examining stability. Sometimes it's about being stuck to what feels comfortable. But I feel like there's something else that is pushing you or another person. And I think there's real success to be had in that with the Four of Wands. I don't want you to be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to try something different. And maybe that's even in your relationships, actually. Interesting. Maybe you're trying some different things out with another person. Take that as what you will. But overall, this energy feels like maybe there's even a wall coming down. But that can actually be positive. Yeah, Temperance. This feels pretty positive. It feels like there's a lot of harmony and flow in relationships, and you're learning a lot from each other. Yeah, I'm really getting like fire sign energy for you too, like Sagittarius placements or Leo placements. That's coming in pretty strong. We also have Virgo, Leo. I feel like you're balancing with somebody else. Like you're regulating each other, or you're learning how to do that anyway. Especially if there is a lot going on in your life. I'm almost getting with this Nine of Pentacles too, like someone in your life or someone is helping you realize for yourself that maybe you don't need all the things that you thought you needed to be happy. Maybe you needed those things because you were coping with an unsustainable workflow. You know, like, sure, self-care is great. It's great to go to a spa or get a massage, but if you're not getting that tension in your body in the first place, like, maybe you need it less. Just as one example. Yeah, I really like this energy overall. I'm going to pull an animal card for you now. This is really kind of like an energy for you to embody. But we'll be open with however this comes through. We already had this dragonfly. Any other animal messages for Pisces? Show us clearly, please. Any other messages or energies for Pisces to embody or be aware of at this time? Interesting. We do have the octopus. For some reason, when I got this, just because you can doesn't mean you should, is something that popped right into my mind. And I mean, octopus is very, very capable. You know, you have all of these tentacles, you have all of these arms, you can do all of these things, right? Well, doesn't mean that's the best thing to do. And I feel like you know that more, Pisces, than other people do right now, just based on what I've been picking up in these other readings. Sometimes octopus is also very like perceptive energy. It's someone who can really read a person. The only problem with this card is like there can be this sort of like lack of boundaries. And maybe even a kind of a control or anticipation, like anticipatory control. Like, this is interesting. You need to put your mind to good use. You need to put your intuition to good use, especially with this water element. And not focus so much on one person. Focusing on the things you're drawn to. We have the gazelle. And I love this card because this always feels so calm, very serene to me. It's about appreciating beauty and art. And gazelle is very aware. There's a lot of grace, a lot of hyper-awareness with this card. Sometimes there is like this hyper-vigilance too. And again, it's like, don't read too much into other people. I kind of get this right now. Like, you could kind of dysregulate yourself by getting too enmeshed with others. But I think you actually have a pretty good handle on this at the same time. Like, you really feel like this King of Cups to me this month. And maybe the shadow of that could sometimes be the darker aspects of octopus, where there's no boundaries, or there's kind of a controlling thing that's happening, or trying to get a handle on your emotions. But it's about working with them and responding to them. And gazelle is also very aware of its surroundings. It's aware of the predators around it. And I don't get this like fear from this card because it's very grounded. So taking care of yourself, surrounding yourself with beauty. This actually has a scientific basis. There's a field of research called neuroaesthetics, which is all about surrounding yourself with art, with nature. These things are very regulating to us. They're very beneficial and neuroprotective. So appreciating beauty is also something that's very important to you right now. And I keep feeling like connecting with nature is a part of that for you. And specifically sitting in nature, not just going for a hike, but sitting like under a tree or on a bench somewhere, really landing on a station, maybe sitting in front of a pond too. But yeah, those are all the messages I have for you this month, Pisces. I do hope that this was helpful. I hope this gave you some things to think about and was very affirming. Definitely be sure to hit like and subscribe, especially if you've made it this far and it resonated with you. You can also find links in the description box for readings and distance Reiki sessions, again, available on my website. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Pisces. I'm sending lots of love and good energy your way.